Good day, everyone. Welcome to Seeking the Truth channel. I'm Simon Oladapo, your host. In our last engagement, I laid down foundation on what next I'll be discussing with you. Quite a few of my friends reached out to me and sought my view and opinion on God's role on the emergence of leaders in societies. I laid a foundation for that last week. Let me make a few references to that before I move on today. I consulted some doctors who are my friends, some of them very advanced in age, but core professionals in their calling. And I asked them, before I delve into this topic, how is a person certified dead? I wanted them to educate me. Before someone could be certified as dead, what are the things that must be available? What are the facts that must be on ground? And basically they told me two things. And one of them said something that made it one. The two things all of them told me, they said one of the things that certifies a person to be dead is what they call the pulmonary factor. What is the pulmonary factor? I was told it is when the heart no longer beats and the lungs no longer draw breath, that such person is certified to be dead. The second certification, they told me, is that when the brain is considered dead, in clear terms, when a person is brain dead, is considered to have passed on. Then one of the senior doctors, who is much advanced in age and has been in field for over 3 decades, he said something that struck me. He said, in some cases, someone may be on life support. The heart will be beating, the lungs will drain breath. He said, but once the brain is dead, once the brain cannot perform any other function, the person is considered to be legally dead. And that opened my eyes to something. And I asked him, does that mean that one can still be drawing breath and the heart will still be beating and yet be considered dead? And his answer shocked me. He said, yes. He said, once the brain cannot perform any other function, once a person is considered brain dead, that person is legally dead. Even if the person is of life support and the heart is beating and the lung is drawing breath. And this draws me, this further pushed me into asking more questions and to go into deeper research on the brain. And as you continue in this journey, there are so many things I'll be dropping along the line in that my research. But let me start with this. I've come to the realization that the most important instrument that God has put in man, the most important equipment, so to say, that God has put in man is the brain. Because every function of the body take their orders from the brain. Every function of the body receive instruction from the brain. In fact, the lifting of my fingers, the blinking of my eyes, the twisting of my face, the lifting of my leg, the twitching of my lips. These are all functions performed by the brain. I was told that the brain is the source of every activity in human body. And when the brain is not that functional, a part of the body or more than one part of the body loses its function. I was also told that majorly when a part of the body is going to pick any function, it started from the brain. It is dictated by the brain. And I went through this research and I realized that tied directly to the emergence of leaders in any society is a direct function of the brains of those who inhabit the society. That may sound far-fetched or too extreme or whatever, but it's the truth. Because if the entirety of your humanity lies with the functionality of your brain, then every of your action, thoughts, decisions, conducts, speeches, responses, reactions, and reflexes are all functions of the brain. I was even told that the brain performs functions that you did not instruct the brain to do. I was told that the brain has some self-programming capacities, but there are functions the brain does even without you consciously knowing it. Now you may be wondering, why do I have to go deep into the function of the brain when the question simply is, what is God's role in the emergence of leaders in the society? And I'll come to this conclusion directly in this. By giving you brain, God has performed his own function of how leaders will emerge in the society. How the people in that society now deploy and use their brain is what determines who emerges as a leader. Basically, the greatest asset that God has given man is the brain. The most important equipment that God has given man is the brain. Once man properly engages the brain, once man excellently deploys the brain functionally, man will live a better life. Because to what extent man develops and uses the brain is what affects his decisions and his choices. So straight up, God, by giving human being brain, has played his own part on how man chooses who rules him. By giving human being brain, God has empowered man to be in charge of the decision of who presides over his affairs in the society. And this is the conclusion before we go into the next class next week. God plays no role in the emergence of leaders. He has given men, women, he has given people generally brain. In our next class, our next engagement, we'll be considering how does the brain function in the emergence of leaders. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Please do not forget to like, to share, to subscribe, and drop your questions. Let us engage. A great day lies ahead of you and a wonderful weekend. Please take care of yourself and your family. I'll see you next week. Bye.